Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Indianapolis Motor Speedway. This is the Group 2 Formula Ford feature race number 1. You can see all the spectators there. It's such an honor to be here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. SVRA, the Formula Ford Challenge, Indianapolis Motor Speedway at the Brickyard Vintage Racing Invitational, brought to you by Speed Tour. 41 cars take the green flag as we ride on board here with Kim Madrid in her 1978 Crossley Formula Ford. Kim Madrid starting 13th. As the huge field of 41 cars come down, led by Bob Hatley, then followed by legend Jimmy Vassar and Dan Cowdry and Roland Johnson. A huge field coming through here. In there is also Doug Bowles, the track president, as we ride along with Doug Bruce from the Indianapolis area. Doug Bruce in a 72 Merlin. There's Jeffrey Chilch. Jeffrey, you need to buy another vowel in that last name, buddy. And now Roland Johnson, currently in 4th place. Following Dan Cowdry, we have a rear camera on Dan Cowdry and his 1970 Titan. I think Dan Cowdry is really going to give Jimmy Vassar there a run for his money. Jimmy Vassar currently in 2nd, right behind Bob Hatley. Bob Hatley is in that 1989 Swift DB3 as they come here around this carousel in this Indianapolis Motor Speedway road course section. Jimmy Vassar's camera is looking a little bit rough there. That's my fault, not his fault. And we follow. He's coming side by side. Bob Hatley looks like he's going long hard on the brakes. Bob Hatley, Jimmy Vassar now takes the lead. Bob Hatley going a little bit deep there, but taking that escape road like he's supposed to do and safely rejoins the field as they come around Franklin Road, turn 12. Here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway as they come down the tunnel. A lot of Indianapolis Motor Speedway fans are going to think that they're going backwards, but this is the road course, the Grand Prix section of the track. Back on board with Kim Madrid as they cross the yard of bricks. Always a favorite for our drivers. And now Jimmy Vassar, Dan Cowdry, and Roland Johnson take Mission Foods turn 1 here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. That's Dan Cowdry in probably one of the older cars in this field. We saw Bob Hatley out there in probably the newer car in his 1989 Swift. Now we're on board with Kim Madrid with that pink Mohawk. Very difficult, fast chicane section here, coming down into a really long back straightaway. As we can see some tire schmagma just go right over her visor. Pulling up to Gregory Stam there in that 2000 Van Diemen. Probably one of the newer cars. There's also Jim Edmonds out there in the 2001. As we look there at Jimmy Vassar coming around in his 1978 Crossley. You can see the shifter lights on his steering wheel lighting up there. And back on board with Jeffrey Chilch, following Mark Clark there in that number 5. Mark Clark's in a 78 Crossley. As they get hard on the brakes into Franklin Road, turn 12. Jeffrey Chilch moving his way through the field. My favorite car out there, Wes Allen in that 78 Eagle DGF. I've just always loved the looks of those cars. As we're on with Eric Inkrot. Eric Inkrot has not been super happy with this new car of his. He's wanting to go back to his old Crossley, I believe it was, but right now he's in a 1969 Winkelmann WDF-1. So while the cars come into Mission Foods turn 1, there's that number 3 of Gregory Stam, the 291 of Kim Madrid, Jeffrey Chilch in that 36. Jeffrey Chilch in 1977 Lola T440. Jeffrey runs here with us with Indianapolis, longtime Formula Ford competitor. His home track, I think he would consider to be Road America. He was with us at Road America a lot. As we look here now at the Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers Complex, Bob Hatley has made his way all the way back into 4th place as he chases down Roland Johnson in that number 63 78 Crossley. But back on board, Jimmy Vassar. Here's Roland Johnson in that number 63 from his nose. You can see the two cars, Dan Cowdry and Jimmy Vassar, going at it here. Into Franklin Road, turn 12 at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. There's Roland Johnson in that orange car, followed by Bob Hatley. Now look for Bob Hatley, has a little bit of an aero advantage to get his move on Roland Johnson as Jeffrey Chilch comes around turn 12. Oh, and looks like Matt Clark goes a little bit sideways there. I hope everybody can avoid him. Everybody makes evasive maneuvers. The yellow flag is out there, signaling to the drivers that there is a problem. Hopefully Matt Clark can get that back and going as we come back down onto this main stretch at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. As Roland Johnson gets passed there by Bob Hatley, coming into Mission Foods turn 1, and Jimmy Vassar still in the lead over Dan Cowdry. But a lot of drafting can take place here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway as Jeffrey Chilch takes over there for Kim Madrid at Mission Foods turn 1. Great pass by Jeffrey Chilch over Kim Madrid. I like the aero, I like the look of that 1977 Lola T440 of Jeffrey Chilch. All of these cars running a 1600, but there are basically 4 different categories. There's the Formula Ford, the Club Ford, Post Club Ford, and there's a gold medallion out there of Amber Stevenson in a 71 Lotus 69 Formula Ford. Beautiful car. Thank you, Amber, for bringing that out, or I call her Wonder Woman. Hard on the brakes into the Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers complex. Roland Johnson behind Bob Hatley. Lots of our California friends came out here. Dan Cowdry, Bob Hatley, Roland Johnson, Kim Madrid, Eric Inkrot, many of our West Coast competitors here with the Formula Ford Challenge. So welcome. We love having them here. They usually make the trek out here because we go straight from here to Mid-Ohio, and they get kind of a 2-for-1 tow package as Jeffrey Chilch takes over there. Adam Stanton and Jeffrey Chilch going at it. Look, there's Adam Stanton there in that beautiful number 182. 1977 Crossley, followed right there by Kim Madrid. This is a great battle here for what we would call the mid to front pack in vintage racing, which is usually where some of the best racing is, as Dan Cowdry takes a little bit of a shortcut over that curbing in his beautiful Titan Mark 6. Back on board with Eric Inkrot. Some of my favorites are these Winkleman WDFs. 1969 as he's right behind Kim Madrid, and there's Jeffrey Chilch and Adam Stanton going at it again. Coming through turn 2, turn 3 complex here. This is a very difficult section because it's very high speed. You got to make sure you're in the right gear, that the tires are gripping. You want to be flat out here. Set yourself up for this long straightaway. Get in the draft here as we're seeing Eric Inkrot do that. Eric Inkrot, our Group 2 champion from just a few years ago, racing with his friend Kim Madrid side by side here, coming into the Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers complex, and Eric Inkrot just gets the better of Kim Madrid. Coming through the very complex turn 7. Kim Madrid, Eric Inkrot, longtime competitors back in their Formula V days, so they know what each other are going to do. They don't mind racing really hard against each other and really close. And now Kim Madrid hard on the binders here into Franklin Road, turn 12. And a little bit of a gap forming between Adam Stanton, Jeffrey Chilch, Eric Inkrot, and Kim Madrid. Look at that. Dan Cowdry side by side with Jimmy Vassar, just gets the little bit better of him, and hard onto the binders into Mission Foods turn 1 as they come around turn 2. And let's see what Jimmy Vassar has for Dan Cowdry as we look on the back of Dan Cowdry. Jimmy Vassar right behind him, but Jimmy Vassar looks like he's going to try to set up for a pass coming into turn 7 here. So what he's got to do is duck right behind them, take that draft, and just get that little bit of an aero advantage from the draft. You can see him sucking into Dan Cowdry, pulls out to the left, and now has the advantage. Who outbreaks who? It looks like Jimmy Vassar now coming up against lap traffic. So let's see what Dan Cowdry can do there as now Kim Madrid comes through that 5-6 chicane complex there, down this long straight. Not quite close enough to get full advantage of this draft. Outbreaks him though, gains a little bit of traction there on Eric Inkrot. There's Jeffrey Chilch right in front of Eric Inkrot, and in front of him is Adam Stanton in that very colorful number 182 Crossley 32F from 1977. I do love how Indy's curbs are 3 different colors. It's white, kind of a baby blue, and then a royal blue. That sets them apart from a lot of the other circuits that we run who just run 2 different colors on their curbing. You can see that kind of navy blue and a baby blue and the white. I just love the color combination there. And here we go. Even knowing Jimmy Vassar's vast history, and I think his 8 starts here in the Indy 500, I think he's a Formula Ford champion from years ago. I know Dan Cowdry to be a really fast driver, so look for Dan Cowdry and Jimmy Vassar to go at it this whole time as we look at Kim Madrid coming down this long straight into Mission Foods Turn 1 right behind Eric Inkrot. Eric takes a really smooth line, very fast driver is Eric Inkrot, getting everything he can out of this Winkleman. You can see Kim Madrid moving her head, moving her hands just slightly. Smooth is so important in these Formula Fords. Every little bit counts. These are really difficult cars to drive. They are so equally matched, and the drivers are so equally matched that every little bit counts. So you want to keep your hands smooth, not to scrub off any extra speed, as we see there, Hoosier bias ply tires. Eric Inkrot goes a little bit deep there, and now we're looking at the leaders, Dan Cowdry in second, Jimmy Vassar, and Bob Hatley just doesn't seem to be able to close that gap. Back on board with Kim Madrid in her pink Crossley with the Deadhead sticker on it. And you can see Eric Inkrot ahead of her, just using every bit of the track as Dan Cowdry right behind Jimmy Vassar. But they're coming up behind 2 cars battling it out in lap traffic. And you see there, that's the white flag. So we are on our last lap. Jimmy Vassar, followed by Dan Cowdry. Does Dan have anything for Jimmy Vassar? And they're going to be coming up on this lap traffic at not the most opportune time here, coming into turns 5 and 6. You see the wave by there in that black car. Vassar still keeping Dan Cowdry right behind him as they come through the Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers complex for the last time. Can Jimmy Vassar keep Cowdry behind him? Looks like he's still running smooth. Doesn't look like his tires have gone away too much. Let's see, coming down to the last couple turns. Coming up to Franklin Road, turn 12. You can see the corner worker there. Coming up to the wall, and I don't think Dan Cowdry has it in him to get by Jimmy Vassar as Bob Hatley passes the lap traffic there in the background. Jimmy Vassar coming up to the last turn here. Looks like he just shifted into 4th gear there. There they are. They're going to see the checkered flag. There's the checkered flag. So Jimmy Vassar over the yard of bricks for the last time in this feature race. Let's see if Kim Madrid can get by Eric Inkrot. She's given it all she has here in this Crossley. Eric Inkrot not budging at all, just going out to the white lines. A little bit of debris there on the outside. Hopefully there's a debris flag as it looks like they're passing this lap traffic here. Kim's going to duck behind, but she doesn't have what she needs for Eric Inkrot. Checkered flag. What a great race here. Formula, they're waving to each other. Formula Ford feature race 1. Can't wait to see what happens tomorrow in our Father's Day race. As they come here to this podium at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, Jimmy Vassar giving high fives, handshakes. Really cool to see the camaraderie here in vintage racing. So Jimmy Vassar, Dan Cowdry, what a race. And now Jimmy, even knowing your history, I thought you'd struggle to keep Dan Cowdry behind you. How was your race?
I did, and he got by me, and then I got a good run on the back straight, and it was pretty late going into I don't know what the corner that is up the back straight, but we were pretty close, and Dan didn't make any mistakes. It was a good run, great run.
Is it fun?
Yeah, now I can finally say I won at Indy, right? Shit.
Awesome. How many times have you run the 500 here?
8. I got fourth twice, crashed leading in 95, and I did ride into here though with Tony Kanaan alongside the car when I was a team owner. So
that's cool.
But this is very sweet to be in this place. All the history. Dan's a tough competitor.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Cowdry, how was it for you?
Man, it was hard. I guess if I'm gonna lose, I'll lose to a champ. That's worth it. It's always fun here though. I've been here many times doing this, obviously, and it's been great. Thanks to Tony for letting us come here. I mean, it's very, very cool.
Gee whiz! All right, how was it, Hatley?
Well, it was good till the brake pedal went to the floor and I missed the corner, but it was fun.
Great run, man.
Yeah.
Great run. Got a little deep there.
Hey, how about Jimmy Vassar winning in Formula Fords?
I'm sure they were locking up.
Would you like to put a hat on to get some shade?
Roland, how was that? Nice job.
Yeah, that was a good drive. I've just made way too many mistakes to be able to run with Danny and Jimmy Vassar. But
and you had a little drag?
yeah, that was it. It was the extra drag. But it was fun. Thank Tony for putting this together. We appreciate it.
Perfect. Thank you. So I'm guessing Wonder Woman is our gold medallion winner. Is that what's going on? How was your race out there?
It was good. A bit busy, but yeah.
Yeah, you were in kind of a crazy field of cars.
Yeah,
How's the car feel?
it's good. I really like driving this car. It's my favorite.
So do you like being in the Formula Ford field as well? It's good
Yeah.
competition.
Yeah, it's a good group. Yeah.
Perfect.
There's always someone to race with.